If we want to develop a rich and thriving civilization, we sure need to start farming these lands, because if a man is hungry, he can't be efficient or productive at all. That does mean we need to find a farmer to run things, but first things first. I decided to get a head start and prepare the land itself, and as you can see, I flattened things out a bit, plugged some holes, and then I went ahead and started to plot out where I think the path should go, which I'll show you in a minute. But this is where our story truly begins. Welcome back to Life in a Snapshot, where we play in whatever the latest snapshot is. And today, we will mainly be building a farm where we have a farmer running the place and some workers around the area to whom he can throw the produce, and then they can store it in some storage. Make sense? Let's get to work. I've been staring at this place for a while, and there's a couple things I do know, and then there's a couple of question marks I'm not sure of yet, so let's run through a couple of things. The first thing we do know is over the water on the other side of the river, we definitely want to develop some kind of mushroomy fantasy something, because that mountain range has to be used for something. The details on it we don't know yet, but that is the plans on that side. That does mean we're going to have a bridge going over there, and that's why we have these lines I made for where paths and bridges should go. So we'll definitely have a bridge coming over. And then, as with this path, what I do know is I want this line running around this hillside. That's a definite line I want. I'm not sure about the rest of the paths. That kind of depends on what else we build over here. Because on this side, I want to build wheat farms, and I want the wheat land to curve around this hill, just more or less in this shape. We'll improve the shape a little bit. And then on top of the hill, we definitely want a farmhouse, because then the farmer can look over all of his things. So that's things I know, question marks, things we need to figure out. But I think the best way to get all of this started is to actually just get started and do some work. The crop planting has started, and I'm shaping it more or less the way I would want it. I want it to have kind of this curve around the hill itself, and then I thought, do we want a retaining wall kind of thing? And then the question is, do I make that out of cobblestone and andesite and those kind of things, or do we keep it dirt with bits of rock falling over and in the wall and things like that? I'm not sure about that, but actually just starting and building it and getting it in the world is definitely helping. It's helping me to figure out what I want to do, and I do like the placement of it. Do like what we have going on. Maybe I'll make it thicker, I'm not sure yet, but I'm doing it gentle and slowly just to get a feel for things. The wheat patch is slowly coming along, and I think I may be onto something. Give you a quick glimpse here. I think I do like the natural farmy feel, kind of the organic feel of the walls having the dirt and the coarse dirt in there. Spruce, I'm not sure yet. I like those pillar things with the lanterns on it, and I started testing some wall designs, but I want to try and use the crimson colors, because I do want to see, is there any way, that doesn't look good, but is there any way that we can blend in some of the crimson colors? Because that way we can get our fantasy location to kind of influence and blend in a little bit with the farming area. I'm not sure if that's possible, because I don't know how to get this block to work. It seems not, because it's a difficult color to try and work into designs. If you're not going all out like with a mushroom, it's tricky. But what I realized is there is red involved in this color scheme as well. So if we just working some red colors around the farm here, it will kind of still blend in with any of the purpley red colors that goes with whatever we do over there. We don't have a solid plan yet, But that's what I'm gonna do. Just gonna start blending reds in here and there. And then obviously we need to add some leaves into the space somehow. And we can probably, with that, I do. We can add some stone bits here and there, and some of, so just a splash of cobblestone, like that maybe, and that can actually work, having that little bit of a drop down, just giving it some extra height, and decorative bits like that, probably. Just scatter those around the place, make it alive, and then I can now start working on a road. I think the road we're going to put in won't be the final road, but it's kind of a placekeeper road. Maybe it's good enough, maybe it's the final road, but we need to get the final feel of how the farming world here, the farming patch, will look. Alright, Mr. Steven, welcome to the wheat farm. I've hired you to harvest these lands and then go ahead and throw the wheat towards Sam or Paul on that side so that they can go ahead and store the wheat into storage. That is how the dialogue should have gone, but I quickly had to go into the mines and quickly just had to get 2 stacks of iron ore because I ran out of iron, and I left the dudes up here. Some pillagers came through and they pillaged them to death, and now we just have boats left. That is fun. So then obviously frantically I ran back to the village just to see if I have any villagers left, and what happened before all of this is I rang the bell by the well, because then the villagers fall into the well and it's a 2-block height, so they can't get out. You can close them up, and that's where I got the 3 villagers from where I had on that side. But when I came back, I saw there's only 1 inside the well left, which is obviously it's no good. So I went through this whole village, removed all the beds, and I looked around, and luckily at the start, I enclosed this dude, which means we have exactly 2 villagers left. So I need to breed these guys. So I'm gonna go on the internet and find the quickest, easiest way to breed dudes up, because we don't want a permanent breeder. I just need to get some breeders for my farm patch so that we can actually hire a farmer, get him to farm the lands. And with all of my villager work in this series, I want them to be able to freely move about and do whatever they want. And just as a side product, we have some food automation things, like this little collection hut I built. Very basic design. That's the idea I have. But it's back to scratch, back to the drawing board. I don't even know what to say. I'm gonna breed up some villagers in the easiest way I can and get these dudes in place. Yes. Villager breeding. It will be fun, they said. Let's play Minecraft, they said. Oh, I had a first addition to this attempt at the villager breeder, which I'll quickly throw on screen. And it probably would have worked, but it didn't. But I think it's just because I punched the 1 villager at the start of the whole thing, so maybe they were just a bit scared and angry. But eventually both of them reset to having no trade kind of things. And I threw away that whole design because I thought, let me go back to the design I know. This, I'm not sure who came up with this, but it's in the middle you have a fence, and then 1 block higher you have trapdoors around it with the beds around that, and then they will always, even if they sleep, they'll always get back into that middle block. But my issue was I didn't have enough spacing around it, so I dropped the level, and then I saw it's not enough space because they can get out into the world, so I dropped another level, so it's 3 levels down. I just need to get them in there, so I'm waiting for nighttime, and then they'll sleep and get into that pod, and golems are a good sign. Interesting. So this kind of already set it up so we can have an automated farm here with a dude throwing things to them if we want to go that route eventually. But now I want to control the variables, so I'll be throwing food at them, having them breed up so that I can control the output so we don't have villager spam all over the place. That's the current state of things. This wasn't part of my plans today. I think you can hear that in the way I'm talking. And this has taken me 2 hours, I guess. I think it's around that by this point. So I don't know how much more we're gonna get done in this episode because my time for making it is running out. Let's see if I can get some villagers in place for the farmlands at least. Honestly, please, please. No, I'm not going crazy, you're going crazy. Yeah, no. Just no. Just no. No, no, no. It's just not working. I don't know what part of it is wrong. I am getting impatient with this thing. Dudes, I'm just gonna leave you in here and throw you carrots every now and then and get you to breed up in here. And then just collect one at a time on the other side. I did not want to spend so much time trying to figure out village breeding right now because that's not the priority. So there we go. They are throwing carrots to each other. Let's just get 3 beds in on this side. Grab that one. I hope they can't reach it. I need a boat on this side though. Let's just place that one here as well. Breed up. At least it's happening now. I'm seeing hearts for hours and hours and hours. And hours and hours. I did not see any hearts. But now we're seeing hearts. So we're shoving them into that corner. There's 3 beds. If we take one out, another one will breed. So we'll always have 3. So that's fine. I don't mind that. We have this big hole for future things. If we want to use it, that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to decorate too much over here. I just want some villagers so I can transport them to my farm and activate my farm so I can automatic wheat farm. Is that fine? Is that fine? Sir? Sir? Is that fine? Thank you. Thank you for nodding and agreeing. Okay, madness aside, I hate villagers. No, really. Finally, it has been done. I have a villager in this pod over here. And as you saw, I have a villager in the pod over there. And I have this farmer over here. But he's getting so distracted. I had to kill a chicken because he keeps following the chicken. Now he's just following the horse. Dude, you have to farm and throw things to those dudes. And the more I stare at this, the more I realize how dumb my design is. It's beautiful, but it's not practical. This dude will die along with his friends. They will be killed by the pillagers. So I'm gonna make one last tweak here. As a closing time-lapse, we're ending this episode right at this point, but as a closing time-lapse, I'm gonna enclose this whole farm, turn these pods to the side so that the farmer will be stuck in the wheat farm and he has access to the 2 dudes on the sides, throw things to them, but then everyone's enclosed so they'll be safe from the pillagers, but then they'll also be enclosed with this farm so they can only farm and throw things to each other and not go wandering and get lost. So a little bit of a closing time-lapse here just to show you the final transformation of this farm patch, but I am very happy with how this came out. This looks magnificent. I love it. But yes, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.